And welcome back to the 13th episode of the Oh You Didn't Know Wrestling Show. I am your 13th most favorite baseball playing host, John Fisher, alongside with the 13th shortest man in Bolivia, Brad Shepard. It's the lucky number 13 this week, and what better way to start off by talking about how lucky you are? Because, well, you know why, don't you?
I do. I got to watch Asuka tap out basic Becky Lynch in the opener, the curtain jerker of Royal Rumble, the third biggest show of the year. So I thought I was quite lucky to be able to see that.
Well, you were just as lucky to see her, get to the main event of WrestleMania by winning the Royal Rumble too, a little bit
Well,
later on the
we'll
show.
talk about that because I definitely have some things to say about that.
Well, you texted me. You said you didn't hate it. Just to
Well,
air the dirty laundry.
Okay, well, I don't hate it in the context of what other stories are they telling?
None.
Okay, so I mean, it's kind of like being the only person to enter a baking contest and then winning. Well, yeah, I mean, you did win, but you were the only one who entered the competition. So your brownies may taste like shit, but it doesn't really matter because you were the only one that brought the brownies.
So you can follow us at I hate Brad, by the way, but we'll get to that a little bit later. You can follow us at our Twitter's John Fisher TV and the Brad Shepard, and then on all podcast platforms you can imagine, for the most part, sort of. Podbean, I still believe we're on that. I have to keep checking. Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes, and Stitcher. You can get us at all of those too. I've noticed that it's either SoundCloud or iTunes. No one listens on Google Play or Stitcher. But hey, we're on there if you feel adventurous anyway. A lot happened. Do you want to set a precedent right now?
Yeah. I mean, what president are we talking about here?
Oh, President Barack Obama. No. Let's set a precedent that there were a couple of serious topics. So let's save our hatred for each other for next week. I think that's fair.
I don't know what I don't hate you at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
You hate what I enjoy. How about that? Let's take our criticism for what each other likes and move it to next week, because, and hear me out, we do agree a lot off camera. There are two big things happened in the last 24 hours, in fact, right? And we'll get to them throughout the show. But thing number one, the Dean Ambrose news, we'll get to that later. Huge. And we'll get into ramifications, the impact, yada, yada, yada. Nope, that is not a pun. And the second, intergender wrestling seems to be back. And for now. And I think that those two they deserve time on the show instead of us bickering like bitches at a nail salon. Or for the men, because I don't discriminate, at a Bass Pro Shop. It just has to. It has to.
Or men at a salon. I mean, hey,
That's true.
A pedicure is not gender specific, pal. I'll tell you right now, they feel pretty damn good.
I have to say, I didn't get to watch Raw live Monday, so I put it up this morning, and I'm going through the show. I'm having a good time. Again, I'm giving it until next week to give me some differences, and I think they're starting to. At least for me, I'm not as critical as most. But I loved the fact that Renee Young, Michael Cole, and Corey Graves all started to argue like Brad and I do about Baron Corbin.
Well, they've got to talk about what's relevant. They've got to talk about what's important. And what better subject than the biggest, most over heel with the most protected finisher in the business?
I don't think he's the most over heel anymore. I think Ronda Rousey took that spot from him.
Ronda Rousey is dealing with a bunch of hardcore fans that are mad she beat Sasha. Okay. And they want Becky Lynch to beat Ronda Rousey. She's not going to be cheered by that audience. Everybody understands that.
She got a lot of hatred.
It doesn't make her a heel.
She got a lot of hate. A lot of it. Like, we haven't seen that much hate since maybe Roman when he beat Taker.
Well, I know these fans. if you're not wrestling in an indie for a hot dog and a handshake for 20 years before you make it to NXT and then make your way to the main roster and you do 20 flips and you kiss the fan's ass, I mean, then they're going to boo your ass. They don't want people who are actually athletes or actually tough guys or girls. They resent that fact.
That's not the case for everything.
Okay.
Not everyone.
It's the case here.
Well, at first they respected and loved Rhonda because of where she came from. You know? She was the people's champ because, well, The Rock gave his stamp of approval to her immediately. And then fast forward 2 months after she debuts, she's the hottest thing in wrestling. I just think that her opponent, she is more revered and loved way more than she is. If that's even possible. And we'll see. You have to admit the cheering for Ronda has diminished in the past month or so. It has. No one can ignore that. It's not the same.
No, I agree. We're on the road to WrestleMania. A lot of these hardcore fans read the dirt sheets and they know the general direction, and they want to see Becky Lynch win the title. Period.
Is Vince going to give them their wish?
If I were Vince, and this is just me, of course, put him in the main event and then have Ronda squash her in 30 seconds.
Well, that'd be stupid because that's
I don't know why that would be stupid.
It's a very stupid idea.
Could literally break her face. I mean, she would make Nia Jax jealous with the job she could do to Becky's face in 30 seconds.
I mean, you could say the same about Brock and Roman Reigns. Brock could literally kill anyone on that roster in a minute. So what's not to say that he should do the same thing and never lose the title ever again?
No.
That's effectively what you're saying. Yes, that is possible. Brock could beat up any one of them. Any one of them.
Well, I don't know. He could certainly probably beat up all of them. I don't know. He could certainly beat up Seth Rollins.
He could.
Yeah, so he should squash him too.
Well, no, you think if it's so simplistic like a caveman that's not it. You're wrong. That is not it, Chief. Okay. Think of it in terms of business. Who's the hottest wrestler in the world right now? It's Becky. Sorry, that sucks for you to hear, but it's the truth.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Easily the most popular right now. Not even close. No, not even close.
Is she number one in merchandise sales? I'm sorry. Are they bringing Becky 316 signs? Or are they handing them out so that they can put her over on their own TV show?
They hand out signs. They've handed out signs since the 90s.
Yeah, you think they were handing out Stone Cold signs?
Absolutely they were. Are you kidding me?
People were making their own signs because Stone Cold was over and he was cool.
And then
and with Becky Lynch, they're handing out signs.
Who cares?
Hey, show your support for Becky because she's our guy, or man, I should say. They didn't have to do that with Austin. Are you kidding me?
They easily had signs. They've had signs for Cena since 2007. They've made signs for top
John
stars.
Cena is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, and you're actually comparing him to Becky Lynch?
I'm comparing the fact that they've made signs for these wrestlers. Yes, absolutely. I've literally saw them at a merch table.
So you don't think that Stone Cold had people bringing a buttload of their own signs?
Oh, of course, because no one had cell phones and people had time on their hands. Of course. That's why we don't see signs.
So they made Austin signs because they didn't have cell phones?
They didn't have time to do anything else.
God, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this Becky Lynch markdom is getting completely out of control.
I just think that you're mad that you never thought of any of it and just hate the fact that she's over because you don't like her. She's the most popular star in wrestling. Literally deal with it.
But what do you base that on? She doesn't move the needle. She's not number one in merch sales. She doesn't move attendance at live events. Hell, they had to cancel a live event she was at. I mean, just show me the proof that she is number one in wrestling today.
Reaction, booking. I mean, shit, she won the Rumble after losing in the first
booking.
match. Yeah, she won the Rumble. So there's your proof right there. Yeah, he's getting it's just as big of a push.
Okay, but what makes her number one?
She is the Royal Rumble winner and is going to win the title at
And
Mania.
the loser of the curtain jerker Royal Rumble match.
It's not a curt. You have to start the show hot. Any
Well, it did
television
start
mind will
hot. It
tell you
started
that.
with her losing. Yeah, I agree. That was a hot start.
You're an idiot. All right, we're not talking about Becky anymore because you can't seem to tell
No,
yourself that you were wrong. You
I,
can't do it.
I just look for proof. Hey, I do want to get your thoughts real quick on NXT Takeover. I know you're a big Takeover mark, so I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Was there anything you especially liked on that show?
I liked every match. I was mad that Dream didn't wrestle.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to catch up on the weekly programming, but I wish he would have performed. I'm sad he didn't. I'll see him. We'll see him this weekend in the tag during halftime, which
Yeah.
I'll be watching because I don't like 3-5. But
Well, I don't know if I'll be watching. I mean, I don't know who's going to watch it. Did they seriously think they could go and they've got the halftime heat idea, which they're bringing back? You know, the evil bad man Booker Vince Russo when he was there, they did the old halftime heat, but they actually did it with two people who were over, The Rock and Mankind, and it was huge. And now they're doing it again, and it's a 6-man tag with a bunch of indie marks. Like,
who cares? It's gonna be fun. Why does everything have to? No, it's fun. Who the
do
fuck
they not want
cares?
people to watch it?
People are gonna watch it.
Yeah, the same people who watch the Royal Rumble are going to watch it, and
That's
nobody else.
and that's fine. Who cares? That's
Who cares?
fine.
That's right. Whatever. Grow your business. Whatever. Just.
I mean, that's inconsequential. Their stocks are dropping, and so are their ratings. So what does it really matter?
And so are Sasha's pants.
Yeah, I know. No, NXT was really good. I loved the tag match to open the show. War Raiders are really good, and
Yeah.
I'm a big Undisputed fan. They know how to be a heel in the wrestling ring, which is a rarity these days. So that was fine. The women's match, I love Shayna. She's great. Bianca Belair is a future star, easily. Sam Roberts can suck one. He has no idea what he's talking about. Which
Oh,
he,
I don't know. I didn't even know who this girl was. I mean, I just saw her, and it looked like, you could whip her around from pillar to post with her hair or step on it. There was so much you could have done from a psychology standpoint. I think that hair really, from a kayfabe standpoint, works against her. And I just thought it's kind of silly. It's like, I don't know, it's the length of her body or something. It's really, really ridiculous.
I like it. I think it's original. I've never seen that before.
Okay, and in a real fight, what would actually happen? Like
It's
somebody would
it's
use
who
that
can't
against you.
you can't quantify what would happen in real life. It's not. It's wrestling.
Yes, it's very fake. It's full of flips. It's all a show. It's all entertainment. Don't forget to rub that on my face. Because everybody else does, including this woman with hair that is 8 feet long. Yeah, I thought, you know what? I didn't really care. I thought, whatever. She's undefeated, I guess. But the problem is when you have a gimmick that is centered around being undefeated, okay? And that's what your gimmick is. And then you lose, the magic wears off. Look what happened to Asuka. I mean, when that is your gimmick, when that defines your character and there's nothing else, you are in trouble when you finally lose. So, I don't know. I mean, I thought Shayna Baszler should be in the main roster. Okay.
She should.
So it's not that, the Fresh Princess of Bel-Air could have won the title. It doesn't matter. But Shayna Baszler should actually be in the main roster. I mean, she's at an age where she really needs to be sooner than later. But I mean, she's just got the ability to be in the main roster right now too. So that was my thought on that. The War Raiders should be on the main roster yesterday.
Yeah, they're good.
I mean, seriously, there is nothing left for them in NXT. They need to be on the main roster in a tag team division that desperately needs teams that have characters and know how to work. So,
well, they have that, but Vince doesn't want to use them. The Revival being one of them.
Yeah,
and the Ascension, who were an excellent tag team too. They were, back in the day with a character and a gimmick, and it was different. And that lasted a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love Ciampa. I know you hate him. I love Ciampa. That match was awesome, and I know you don't like Gargano either, so I don't know why I'm even bringing it up. But their two matches were excellent, and at the very end, they
Yeah.
had. Yeah, I know what you thought. The the moment at the very end when Ciampa was still celebrating at the very top of the ramp, and Johnny came out, and they both held up their titles. It was cylindrical storytelling over the last 2 years. I thought it was brilliant. NXT gives me my storyline fix that I know I can be excited about, and good match quality to boot. Still don't know how the main roster can't put the two and two together, but who knows?
Royal Rumble. So, tell me your thoughts on the old Royal Rumble. I mean, you talk about creative. We had the kickoff show, and we had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus, are you ready for this? Scott Dawson and Razor.
Don't get it. Vince is just dicking with them now. He's dicking with all of us.
You think? I mean, they lost in 6 minutes and 54 seconds, and Dawson ate the pin.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's kind of rubbing salt in the old wound there.
Well, whatever the latest report was, saying that since they asked for the releases, Vince is going to reward them to be the faces of the tag team division, were very, very wrong.
Yeah, that, and I'm still waiting on the huge Drew McIntyre push that was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was up until the Rumble, you know, he was put very strong the entire time.
Right.
I don't think he lost a match.
Yeah, but the push was supposed to be taking place now.
Yeah, that is true. But it looks like, what does it look like? He's going to face Braun at WrestleMania in a one-on-one?
I have no idea. I mean,
that's
a possibility, but Corbin has been thrown in there.
Triple threat, Corbin, McIntyre, Braun for nothing.
And Corbin goes over strong.
I don't think that'll happen, but
could.
That match would be beef slamming all over the place.
I don't even know what that means.
Beef slamming is just a term that a bunch of big guys just like slap each other around and toss their big bodies into each other. Beef. You see all this beef in this ring?
That almost sounds a little sexual.
I mean, Vince, that was his inference for us to get. However, I digress. Overall, I thought the Rumble was fun. A lot of people hated it. But again, when the Rumble begins up until WrestleMania, I am no longer a critic. I just like to enjoy something that I love, which is pro wrestling. And I'm not an analyst anymore. I'm a fan. Rumble was fun for me. Some good moments in the women's and men's matches. The biggest difference that I saw, there were no, aside from Jeff Jarrett, which was clearly a planned spot in the very beginning, there was no legend that came through.
Yeah, one of my takeaways from the Rumble matches is that
not the event.
There was a clear focus. Yeah, not the event, the match. Matches. There's a clear focus to have the younger talent, NXT talent, NXT UK talent, whatever you want to call them, as opposed to the legends in the match. And I wasn't a big fan of it, but that's certainly a clear focus.
We have always talked about them not building stars. I'm not harping on you for that, because you just said that, you know, that was the way it was. You don't like it. That's fine. But we've always talked about them wanting to build new stars and introduce new faces and build new talent. Well, this is them doing it instead of giving it to some hack job 50-year-old who can't take a bump anymore. You know, I love Mick Foley. I love Taker. Kane's an anomaly. I love, Goldberg, whoever. They're all wonderful. I grew up watching them. They're the best ever. I don't want to see them anymore. Their time is done. I want to see new blood, whether I don't like them or whether I do like them. It's at least giving me faith that they want to keep the company and the fans that watch something, new to look forward to. Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly I thought it should have been a mix.
Sure, a mix is fine.
New faces, but at least a couple of legends. I mean, you get some of these people coming out and you're like, who the fuck are these people? And when I'm saying that too, I can only imagine someone who's more of a casual fan than me watching and being like, okay, who is this Lo Chow Mein? Who are these people? I have no idea. Who cares?
And at least for people watching at home, for a few of them, there was only like one or two that I've never heard of. That what was her name? Shin Lai? Shin Lao? Hold on. I have to look her name up so I get it done properly. First Chinese wrestler in women's rumble. That, according to Dave Meltzer, that's what they wanted to, that they wanted that headline. Which is odd. I don't know. So I guess it's not odd. It's just different. I didn't Shia Lee. If people watching at home, tell a story. Who is it? What's she doing here? Why is she here? What's her plan? Give me some background. Like,
Yeah.
Casey Catanzaro, good showing. She was on American Ninja Warrior. She's a more household name than most of the women's roster in general. We knew who that was.
But she's stealing Kofi Kingston's gimmick.
So what? I mean,
come on. So what? I mean, 2 years in a row. Of course they did. They popped for Kofi doing it. But then they had Naomi now 2 years in a row stealing it. Now they have a third person stealing it. And they actually gave Kofi like the least impressive little trick, right? To get back into the ring without his 2 feet touching. And it's just kind of like, well, damn, they stole his gimmick. I mean, seriously, is there no such thing as courtesy anymore where you don't have 2 people in the same company doing a super kick finish? Or I don't know.
No.
Kevin Nash. That was his Rumble thing, and now he doesn't really have the Rumble thing. And so what is really special about him in the Rumble? I don't know. He's just a guy. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of wondered, like, how many little guys could they put in the Rumble at once? I mean, it was really getting absurd. It was like one 205 Live guy after another.
I love them all. They were all fantastic.
Are you kidding me? Pete Dunne? He looks like he's 15.
He could bend your finger back so far.
That was the dumbest thing ever. Love it. He's taking down Drew McIntyre? Are you kidding me? What kind of drugs is the person on that planned that spot?
Joint manipulation, my friend.
Yeah, ask RVD about it. I mean, you'd have to be on drugs to plan that spot.
Love it.
I think it's believable. I mean, seriously, it's a joke. He's nothing. I just don't understand it. You bring in Mustafa Ali, who they've had a hard on for weeks.
And he lasted for 53 minutes.
And he got beat by a girl.
Yep.
And yeah, but I mean, it's absurd. Like, he eliminates Samoa Joe.
Awesome.
And then, a girl beats him. What was the point of that entire thing? I just thought the Rumble was really poorly laid out in some aspects for sure. I thought the Women's Rumble was a disaster. And it's 2 years in a row of a disaster where, nobody really cares and it's really bad in the ring. And they got to the end. I mean, they got to what they wanted. Charlotte is certainly a very legitimate women's competitor in WWE. And so they got to the end. I mean, that was fine. But I thought the match, it went on like, I mean, it was like 14 minutes longer than the men's Rumble.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was not nearly as good. And it's just kind of like, it's boring. It's bad. The Rumble for me really did expose how bad the women are in the ring compared to the men. 2 years in a row now. That's a generality. I mean, Charlotte certainly belongs, someone like a Charlotte. But I'm just in general. I mean, they're not even on the men's level.
I liked, again, I'm not a critic. I every Rumble I enjoy. No
I am
what.
Because they get a pass for it.
Well, we don't pay the bills. We only pay $9.99. Lacey Evans, though, I think Lacey Evans and Charlotte could be a future Mania match.
Hey, I liked Lacey Evans, I have to say. I liked the gimmick a lot and the look. And, she could do enough in the ring as well. I liked it. I was a fan of that.
And Nikki Cross?
Yeah. Nikki Cross is another one. Yeah, I'm a fan. I think she, and I said this weeks ago, but she really understands her character and does it really well. So those two I'm definitely impressed by, and I think they could do something with.
And I'm trying to think if anyone else um, that would have been impressive too. Yeah, Nikki and Lacey were wonderful. They're always great. They've
Yeah.
been great, since I started to watch them. Especially Lacey, who didn't really have any indie training, which is the even more impressive part. So as far as the singles matches are concerned, and even the Miz and McMahon Tag Championship victory, and any highlights? Bryan and Styles just did not. I thought the match was fine.
It missed the mark for me.
Well, I don't know.
I
I
was
think it was the
boring.
crowd. It took the spot of
Well, it's after the Women's Rumble,
yeah,
right?
which had the emotional situation take place. It was emotionally draining for
Well,
everyone in attendance. That
but how
everyone
many times have we seen Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles?
actually only once, right? Because they blew it like 3 months ago.
This has been going on forever. It's the same crap every week. And, it's kind of like people, it was kind of a not that great match.
Yeah.
It was just whatever. I mean, I wasn't moved by it, that's for sure.
But I don't know about you. I loved the Sasha Ronda was a very good wrestling match from beginning to end, at least in my opinion. I thought they worked really well together, and Ronda and they both can sell very well, and it got me emotionally invested in the match.
I thought it was all right. Yeah. Nothing like super special. I thought it was fine.
Did you? What was your favorite of the night?
Uh, that's a great question. I mean, usually the men's rumble, I would have to say the men's rumble or Brock Lesnar destroying Finn Balor. Although, it's really close. Asuka beating basic Becky Lynch to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, I have to ask John, because this is completely illogical to me. You've got the man. The man taps out clean in 17 minutes and 9 seconds to Asuka. Okay? She jerks the curtain of the Royal Rumble. Babyface Becky. Then she takes a sneaky opportunity to get into the Women's Rumble, which she was not scheduled to be in. When Lana is hurt, she takes advantage of the situation. Babyface Becky. And then apparently Fit Finlay has got the authority to impromptu add her into the Rumble match. Imagine that. Congratulations on your promotion, Fit Finlay.
He loves to fight.
Yeah, apparently. So she enters that way. Babyface Becky takes an opportunity after tapping out in the same night to the SmackDown champion, and then wins the Women's Rumble. And then she goes on to challenge not Asuka, who beat her, but no, Ronda Rousey. Can you dissect that? Does that make any sense to you at all?
Yeah, for one that has an open mind like myself, yes, because you're so closed-minded, it scares me for the future. Yeah, she wants the match with Ronda, so she's gonna pick Ronda. She wants the bigger title on the bigger stage,
The bigger
Raw.
title. She does not want to face the champion she couldn't beat.
Well, no, she's wanted the match with Ronda. Why would she not want it?
Yeah, she doesn't want to face the champion she can't beat.
And let's be honest, so Meltzer said the only reason that Asuka won clean is to keep her strong, so the title still means something.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that is idiotic, because let me explain why. They could do just that and have Asuka not tap out Becky Lynch, who they know is going to win their Women's Rumble.
Yeah.
I've got an idea. How about you have Charlotte come down and interfere and cost Becky the match? Asuka looks strong. Becky looks strong because she got screwed and can go on to win the Women's Rumble. And it still doesn't look bad because she lost earlier, but only because of Charlotte. And she's got, by the way, this entire history with Charlotte, so it makes sense.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But here's why that would never happen. You know who's running the show. You know the one man who's writing the program. That take logic out of the window immediately.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not shooting down your idea because I would have much rather. In fact, Dean and I talked about that night. He looked at me because we watched it together. He's like, why wasn't there a distraction? I'm like, I don't know, but she's gonna win the Rumble. He's like, okay.
Did you guys watch it at work?
No, we were at my house.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there's any policies against managers hanging out with subordinates.
He's not my boss.
Okay.
Speaking of Dean, he said he had something for you. Who knows what he does from week to week? That ironclad contract. Still have to get my lawyer on it. Jerry, is it Jerry
McDevitt.
Is that Vince's lawyer? I mean, he got Vince out of murder charge. He got Vince out of alleged murder charges. So,
he's a pretty good lawyer. Yeah.
All right. Here's Dean.
Gentlemen, hello. I promised you on Twitter at IamDean16, thanks for giving that address, by the way, every week, that I would reveal what Brad wants in wrestling. Here's what you want, Brad. You want more Hogan Andre, and you want less Steamboat Savage. WrestleMania 3 was billed as the irresistible force meets the immovable object. The spectacle of spectacles. Hulk Hogan versus the, quote, undefeated Andre the Giant. The match was shit. Okay? That match was horrible. But it was a spectacle. And you ask anybody about WrestleMania 3, they're going to tell you two things. Hogan Andre and Steamboat Savage, who had the proverbial 5-star match. But just matches, and it got me to thinking this with Andrade and Rey Mysterio. Those were great matches on SmackDown. But what's the story? What's the story behind it? And I think that's part of why AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan failed. Not just because it followed the Women's Royal Rumble and the crowd was exhausted with the hype for Becky. That was part of it. But the story didn't click with AJ and Daniel. And they wrestled a great match. But nobody cared. Nobody was invested in the story. They were even more invested, actually, in the Finn Balor-Brock Lesnar story, especially the way they told the story in the match, which was pretty creative, actually. So, Brad, you're not wrong. There's a place for good matches, but there has to be the larger-than-life story. And that's what's been largely missing from WWE's product. Hogan and Andre, larger-than-life story. And to be quite honest, and whether you like it or not, and I think he kind of admitted it on Twitter, Ronda and Becky already is that larger-than-life, end-the-show story. The thing people are going to look forward to most over Seth and Brock. Right? So, that's what wrestling, I think that's what you're looking for, needs more of. And it's not that there isn't a place for great matches, but I think too many people are hung up on the work rate of great matches that NXT delivers, and maybe that's why some NXT product fails to deliver on the main roster. Just some food for thought. And now, if you don't mind, just to briefly indulge me, and I know I'm getting a little long on this. Fuck you, Vince Russo. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Oh, God, no. We don't condone this at all.
Elbows on your fucking head. You tweeting that Becky should want Asuka in storytelling. Dude, if you were doing the storytelling, you'd have put something on a fucking pole in that match, okay? And then you would have had 17 run-ins and disqualifications. Shut the fuck up. You don't know how to tell a story. Let the big boys actually do it now and stop trying to be so damn relevant 20 years after your so-called heyday. That's a real elbow drop, gentlemen.
Yeah, we don't condone that at all. He's unhinged.
Oh, that's is he Wacky Dean? Get it?
Wacky Dean. Yeah, he's the original Wacky Dean. But I think Dean has good points about the storytelling. I mean, look, Steamboat and Savage didn't draw a damn dime at WrestleMania 3. The people came to see Hogan versus Andre. That's what sold the tickets. That's what got him into the Pontiac Silverdome, brother.
Well, weren't Steamboat and Savage still very, very popular at that time? I'm asking because I wasn't alive for it. So,
in particular, Savage was popular, not near the Hulk Hogan level.
No.
At that point at all. But they didn't sell tickets. They just had a really good fake fight, which, by the way, I enjoyed, but it wasn't selling the tickets. What was selling the tickets, because everybody knows it's a work, is the stories and the larger-than-life characters. That's what people want to see. But there's this minority of the audience, which is, at this rate, turning into a majority, but it's dwindling down. There's this base hardcore audience that focuses too much on star ratings or match quality or however you want to refer to it. And they don't need stories or characters. They don't really care. They want to see a guy go out in tights and trunks and do some flips and hurricane ranas and have a really good fake fight, and somebody wins and somebody loses. And that's what they want to see. And that's not going to bring in Fox viewers. That's not rocket science. So at some point you have to say, you got to stop catering to these people. You already have them. And you have to start doing more characters, more stories that are relatable to society today. That's what you have to do. And how you could not understand that is puzzling to me.
Well, that's why, for me, Becky and Rhonda, I don't care if Finn Balor was in a triple threat match with Dean Ambrose, Ricochet, and Adam Cole. Humor me for a second. So if that was a fatal four-way for the Universal Championship, okay, hypothetically speaking, but I still had Rhonda and Becky for the Raw Women's strap on that same show, and I just had to pick one. I'd pick the Becky Rhonda match 10 times out of 10 because I know that's going to deliver good in the ring. They're both good performers. That's just what they do. They're going to do well in the ring, but the story that comes with it is so damn fascinating that I want to see how it's resolved.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think that's more compelling than we have. I'm not interested in Seth versus Brock. We've seen it before. We've seen it in the main event at WrestleMania before, even.
Well,
right?
no, not necessarily. Not
necessarily. Brock to win the championship at WrestleMania.
But he wasn't in the match. He
He was in the match. He joined the match and pinned Brock Lesnar.
But it was never a
and
one-on.
He's going to do it again.
But it was never a one-on-one Seth versus Brock, and that's the story.
It's the same old shit. It's not compelling at all. There's no story behind it. He wins the Rumble. He wants Brock because who knows? And they're going to have a match, and it's going to be the same old shit.
There's a way they can make it compelling, I think. There's one way.
How? Okay, how?
You bring Roman into it. You have to.
Okay.
Because the last time Roman fought for the strap, he lost to Brock, right? Yeah, he did. Yeah. He lost to him at Mania. So what if this is the redemption story for Seth getting revenge for his brother who couldn't get the job done, and have Seth try to slay the beast at WrestleMania?
But Roman had beaten Brock at SummerSlam.
I know. Yeah, I know, but
I don't know. You tell me what the compelling way is between these two. I mean,
that's the only way that I could think of is bringing.
I mean, Roman I don't even like the matchup. Like Seth Rollins has terrible punches. He does a lot of flips. I just don't find it very believable. So I don't know. It's just not compelling for me at all. And I think Seth Rollins is overrated.
He is taller than Finn Balor.
Well, who isn't? I mean, you're like Finn Balor's height. I mean,
I think
so
I am a little taller than him, I think.
I mean, he's seriously short. And I've been telling you this, the camera tricks and blah, blah, blah. But you finally got a couple of good shots recently with Vince McMahon and even with Brock Lesnar. And he is just considerably short than
Seth Rollins and Brock
both of them.
on hard cam wasn't that big of a disparity. I was expecting it to be a lot bigger.
No. Brock is 6'3". Like, he's tall, but I'm taller than Brock. He's not that tall.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like really huge. He's really big, really strong.
Jericho told him to lose the gut.
I mean, how stupid was that? Seriously, like, have you seen Brock Lesnar and like, have you seen Chris Jericho? No offense. I mean, I'm a fan of Jericho's work, but one of those two maybe has a bigger gut than the other, and it's not Brock Lesnar. You know, so it's like, come on, dude. But they, you know, they have that whole history, and Jericho was probably, you know, it was late at night, early in the morning. Let's put it that way, and he went on a little
bender.
And I don't mean fender bender.
Any highlights that you took away from Raw or SmackDown? Because again, the two important topics that I want to get to are coming up very, very, very shortly. For me,
I do want to talk about Raw. This is kind of a segue for me because for what's traditionally the second, maybe third highest rated Raw of the year, Monday's post Royal Rumble episode averaged 2.703 million viewers. Now, the significance is it's up 9% from last week, which you would expect it to be up because it's the Royal Rumble post show. But it's down from 2 weeks ago and down, here's the kicker, 20% from last year's post Royal Rumble Raw episode.
What happened on that show? Was there a big star on it, like Rock or Cena or anything?
No, I mean, it's just, you know, Seth didn't move the needle.
There are, I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for Lynch and Rousey, I would have a hard time attaching myself to anything on the main roster at all.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you know, now you look at Dean, and we'll talk about that, but the way they've booked him is terrible. They set up an Elimination Chamber qualifier, and Nia Jackson Tamina win. It's almost like, well, it's like they want nobody to watch this match. I mean, the people they're putting in it, it was like, okay, Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan defeated Natalya and Dana Brooke. They're in the match. So like I said, Nia Jax, Tamina, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan. Like I said, it's like they want nobody to watch this match, which is fine. Look, everybody needs a bathroom break, especially when these shows are 7 goddamn hours. So you know what? This is totally fine. I'll just take a piss during this.
I mean, I don't like Nia and Tamina. I like the Riot Squad. I wish it was Ruby. She's the best one out of the 3. But I don't know why. I don't know why she's not in it. I guess she's not getting ready for a singles push, so I don't understand that logic whatsoever. If it were up to me, I'd have it as Logan, who can wrestle, and Ruby Riott, who can do it all. That's just me.
But this may have been one of the greatest Monday Night Raws in history because it was the night of domination for Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
And he absolutely just... I mean, I don't even know what to call it. What would you call it?
He won.
No, I mean, he won, but it was kind of like more than a win. It was total devastation. It was a real morale breaker. He defeated Kurt Angle, who looked like a tomato can, via a deep 6 in 3 minutes and 56 seconds. And whew, that was amazing.
It was whatever. Kurt Angle needs to just. I love Kurt. He's the man, Pittsburgh native, but less wrestling, more. I like. He was a good GM. He made me laugh. He made me giggle a lot.
Well, then you have Baron Corbin show up later, and he beats up Braun Strowman now with a little help, of course. But who really cares about those details? I mean, it was like all Baron all the time, kicking ass, taking names. He's unstoppable. Here's what they should do. Seth Rollins, he's just boring. Just replace him with Baron Corbin and put Corbin in the main event against Brock Lesnar. That's what we all want to see anyway. We want to see two Haases have a Haas fight.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
But one thing I do want to point out, this is serious now, because I know
it's not.
I have talked about this. We get a Finn Balor promo, and out comes Lashley and Leo, and Finn Balor was attacked. And I don't know any other way to put it, John, to be honest with you, but he was viciously cornholed by Apollo Crews.
Yeah,
bowling
Apollo
protege
Crews,
Bobby Lashley.
There you go.
Apollo Crews' bowling protege, Bobby Lashley. I mean, he cornholed him. I don't know what to say. Like, are they investigating this? Is HR involved? I don't know what's going on here.
Well, don't like how Leo called him little man, but Finn's taller than him.
That was great.
That was a little weird. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, that was irony called. It's for you.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Last but not least, two very quick things. R-Truth wins the U.S. title, so Nakamura is going back to New Japan.
Might as well. Or he can go to AEW. He can do whatever the hell he wants. You know what? Just whatever. Maybe he can take Asuka with him.
What did you think of Dean's all-Japanese stable with a mouthpiece?
Well, they definitely need a mouthpiece, and hopefully that mouthpiece can speak English.
And last but not least, Daniel Bryan's hemp championship. I think that's freaking phenomenal. Love it.
Yeah, I
love it. Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah.
I was kind of I
hate it in a good way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I like what they're doing with him. He looks like a hobo. But that aside, I really like. He kind of looks like his character, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he does. And isn't that what we all want at the end?
Exactly. He's just. I mean, it's good because he's got a character and it's relevant to society, and he's got believability because he really believes this. So that is really what makes good characters in pro wrestling. So I've definitely enjoyed that. And now we find out, of course, he'll be having an Elimination Chamber match against AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, and the guy who got beat by a girl, little Mustafa Ali.
Do you think they have the balls to put it on Mustafa Ali?
I hope not. I mean, if they put it on him, they might as well put it on everybody in the stands.
I'd love for him to win it. I don't think they'll do it. I don't think so. Not yet. Way too early. Way too early. That'd be as bad as Sheamus beating Cena back in 08, 09? Way too early. It was a huge flop.
It was way too early. But I mean, at least Sheamus, you look at him and he is a really big dude. I mean, you could picture, in kayfabe, you could picture, John Cena could lose to Sheamus. Mustafa Ali, no. I mean, I wouldn't pick him against Nia Jax. I wouldn't pick him against Charlotte.
That's not what it's about.
No, I would pick him against Becky. She's kind of like the weak link.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the two things that I wanted to, I'm not talking about Becky Lynch with you ever again, by the way. I can't do it. I'll lose my freaking mind. As far as Nia Jax.
Maybe, I actually thought of this, John. It's a good point because after Charlotte attacked her, I've got a new name. Maybe we should be referring to her as Becky Limp.
No, that's no.
Her foot's hurt. Becky.
No, it's fake. She's not actually hurt.
Oh, okay. It's fake.
The intergender wrestling, for whatever reason, a lot of tree hugging liberal assholes decided to.
Hey, you were coming in hot.
I'm not holding back. Yeah, tree hugging. I'll say it again. Tree hugging liberal assholes decided to come in and talk negatively about guys fake fighting women. Grow up, grab your junk wherever it may be on your body, realize that you're an idiot, and move on because it's not real. Get the hell over it. I thought it actually got a bigger reaction than I thought. They were cheering for, no one has cheered for Randy Orton since the 70s, so he got a big pop out of it. And then even when Mysterio and Ziggler and Orton, the Ram Man, ganged up on her, it got a huge pop.
It was well, it wasn't a gangbang. It was they were ganging up on her.
Yes, exactly. But for this the really, really ignorant, lazy people in society who found that as a bad precedent to show the youth of America that, women involving men in a fake fight is bad for you. Sorry, let's talk about the mass shootings that have happened. Sorry, this is fake wrestling we're talking about. So please enlighten everyone. Did you have a problem with this?
I didn't like it. I have to be honest. I did not like it. Now, I want to preface this by saying, the fan base that is outraged by this, men attacking the women sort of a thing. I mean, these are the same people who they were outraged about doing shows in Saudi Arabia, but had no problem with the U.S. doing a massive arms deal in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Right? Didn't say anything about that, but going to do a WWE fake fight show there, that was a problem. So just put that in perspective. But here's the thing. I don't mind the men and women equally being able to attack each other. I just don't want to see it in a match. Like, look, Nia Jax, I was not a fan of her entering the match. Why? Because there is literally a women's Royal Rumble match now. And that's what people don't understand, aren't taking into account, right? Like, China was in the Royal Rumble. Yes, she was. And guess what? There was no women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You were either in it or you weren't, and there was one. Now there isn't. Now we have the gender equality, so to speak, of a men's and a women's Royal Rumble. Now, someone on Twitter said, oh, they love Nia Jax being in it because of equality. No, that's not equality. That was a men's Rumble. Okay? Equality means there was a men's Rumble and a women's Rumble. Okay, and the women have the chance to compete with the women, and the men have the chance to compete with the men. That's equality.
Yeah.
But to act like Nia Jax was some sort of an equality movement, putting her in the men's Rumble, no, that's just stupid. So I did not like it at all because that was the whole point. This is only the second year of the women's Rumble, and they're already putting women in the men's Rumble.
Was there anyone last year? There was no woman in the men's Rumble last year, was there?
No. And you know what? I guess that means next year Braun Strowman can enter the women's Rumble because clearly having the separate gender-based Royal Rumbles is not good enough for the women. They have to be in the men's Rumble too now. So I guess Braun Strowman should declare himself eligible or just, injure someone and then ask Fit Finlay if he can join and get into the Royal Rumble, and he can squash all the women and throw them all out, and then he can get a shot at the women's championship. I don't know.
That's really, why don't Baron come in number 30 and then have all 29 women in the match, still all in the ring, in this like sarcophagus of just controversy, and then Baron just picks them all up at once, kind of like when Schwarzenegger and Hulk could pick up like 8 women at the same time on each arm,
right?
And just toss them all out gently because he respects women.
Yeah, of course. No, I love the idea. I think they should, book that immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was all about like equality. Like, okay, remember when we talked about Becky Lynch throwing John Cena out of the ring? And one of my points was, why couldn't John Cena do anything back? If the rules are the rules that the women can attack the men, then why can't the men attack back? I'm not saying they have a match. I'm just saying if you're going to have the women attack the men, they have to be able to do the same thing.
Well, and they did this time.
Yeah. So that I'm fine with. I'm not interested in a match where they're doing that, specifically intergender men versus a woman. It's not believable whatsoever.
Yeah.
And granted, they use Nia Jax, who is really, a 5'10", 300-pound woman. I mean, she's bigger than Mustafa Ali by far. So I get it. They brought in the big girl, so to speak, who could, look sizably comparative to the men wrestlers, but I still not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
You have the women's Royal Rumble. That's exactly what it's for. You have the women's specific championship. That's what it's for.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all good. So, Dean, wait, do you have some news tonight? Do we have
I
news to?
do.
You do?
I do.
I don't know. I have to find the music. Well, I play the music anyway. Okay. Long story short, you know, while we're recording, I hold my phone up so we can both hear the music. But in reality, I just import the MP3 over.
Right.
So this
Yeah.
is no big deal.
Well,
But
it kind of, but when you do that and we're recording live, it actually kind of pumps me up for my news when I get to hear it. Even though it's not what we're using, it kind of like,
yeah,
it gets me like all juiced up, brother.
kind of like a Baron Corbin, Corey Graves man sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
How jealous are you of Corey when he got to be in Baron's wedding?
Oh, geez. I was like behind the bushes spying with binoculars.
So you were with all the marks as they were staring at Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Yeah, I was looking down at Gargano. I was like, who's this midget?
Candice is so adorable. I'm so glad she got in the Rumble. She is America's wrestling sweetheart and will be forever. Anyway. Yeah, onto the music.
Ah, yeah.
Let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see it. There's a lot of beef in this ring. All right, Brad has some things to tell you all.
I do. So earlier, there was an accidental email sent by the WWE Universe email account where they had Undertaker listed as a WWE Hall of Famer.
Uh-huh.
So I spoke to a source in WWE about that. They said it's probably an accident. And frankly, obviously that kind of information would be put out internally before reaching the WWE Network team that would send out that email. So, and I mean, common sense wise, you would think he would formally retire first at least, but
yeah,
there's nothing on the table right now for a WrestleMania match. Not that it won't happen, but all things considered, it does appear that that was an accident.
Yeah, and I've been asked a few times about Taker. I've reached out to some folks too. He's not retiring, but he might not be wrestling. It might just be the year of nothing for Taker,
Right.
which is okay. Maybe it's fine to not have him wrestle every fucking year.
Yeah.
It's okay to take a year off, especially when you look 20 years older than you really are.
Oh,
sorry,
God, he looks like he's 70.
Sorry, dude. I love you. You're one of my favorites, but man, take the year off, bro. It's okay. It's fine. WrestleMania will be fine without you. It's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was the story of John Cena being advertised for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then I guess it was right before the Royal Rumble, they announced that he was injured and would not be in the Royal Rumble match. So there was a lot of speculation about, was this a work? Was it a shoot? Was it a work to sell tickets, etc.? Well, I spoke to a source in WWE, and they confirmed that Cena's injury was not only never legit, he was never legitimately injured, but it is dead on that WWE false advertised Cena knowing he would never show up to the Royal Rumble just to move tickets. That is confirmed.
Interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of heat from some fans on WWE for doing a lot of this type of thing. You talk about cards subject to change, but at what point does it become false advertising?
Now, can I bring something up? It's along the lines of the Lars Sullivan situation. Unless you were going to talk about it
No, go
already.
ahead.
Okay, so this is really. It's not like I'm not breaking anything, but this did in fact happen. There was a tweet sent from Lars Sullivan's account, which is now protected. I, fortunately, lucky enough to let me follow him. His social media representative, William Christensen, put out a tweet on Sunday saying, quote, "There has been a lot of speculation about Lars recently. It's true he went missing several weeks ago, and I was just able to contact him this morning. Lars wants everyone to know that he's in a good place and is sorry to everyone he's disappointed. Best, WC." It was deleted shortly after. Now, what could this mean for Lars? We know Vince's background, and if you're not reliable, to the curb with you. Next man up. So that might be what happens to Lars Sullivan. Obviously, a big guy, was average in the ring at best, but we know how Vince feels about big guys, and he felt like he could do something with them, and he may have been right. But when you go AWOL for 3 weeks, see you later. Sorry.
Yeah, I've actually asked about that. I'm waiting to hear back. I obviously have reported here on our show that they were not happy with the situation. They felt that he blew it big time. And so I'm waiting to hear back. But, at this point, he was supposed to have the match with John Cena.
Yep.
And he was supposed to destroy him before the Rumble. And that would have been the reasoning John couldn't do the Rumble. But obviously that didn't happen because of the situation with Lars. And now his entire storyline is in jeopardy. And as I talked about, they had to change John Cena's schedule because of the situation. So it's a disaster. So, but I am waiting to hear back, looking for a little more information. But yeah, it's a sad situation. Hopefully, he's in a good place.
Yeah, for real. Absolutely.
And finally,
there you go.
Dean Ambrose.
Yep. Big poppin', big news.
There is a lot of speculation about Dean Ambrose and the status of his WWE deal. Now, Wade Keller first reported that Dean Ambrose would be leaving WWE when his contract expired in April. There was a lot of subsequent speculation after WWE eventually released a statement saying that he would be leaving the company and they wished him the best when his contract was up. And, the booking on Raw where he's kind of getting into it with Hunter, they're almost teasing something there. People are kind of speculating, is this a work? Is this a shoot? Are they doing this to work everybody? Well, I have the answer to that. Unequivocally, the Dean Ambrose story is legit. He is intent on leaving WWE when his contract expires. That is true. It is not a work. Now, they may work something into the storylines based on reality because the story is out, but he is legitimately planning on leaving the company when his contract is up. Now, they have some time to figure things out, though.
It's only January. Well, when you guys are listening to this, January 30th. They have until April 5th.
So they have a couple months. I mean, maybe they figure it out, maybe they don't, but his intent right now is to leave WWE. In speaking to a source in WWE, they actually believe he would be a big loss. I mean, and brought up a good point. When you think about it, you lose the potential to do the Shield again. And anytime you show the Shield on the network or anywhere else, it's a reminder that he's not there. He's somewhere else.
Yep.
But you really have a difficult situation on his hands, too, because his wife, Renee Young, is such a big part of the announcing team. The first female commentator on Monday Night Raw. Awkward.
A little bit. And I think, even though your reports are always legit, can you admit that it wouldn't surprise you if they turn it into a work at some point? I don't think so at all. I mean, CM Punk, proof's in the pudding. They did the same exact thing. And the reports, such as yours, saying that they're legit because they were. He was going to leave until something switched in his stubborn head that made him stay. And he ended up being one of the biggest stars in the history of pro wrestling because of it. I am not going to go out on a limb and confidently say that Dean, that's going to be his path, because everybody's path is different in how they succeed in the wrestling business or they don't. He's had a good career already. He's won multiple titles. Was it a big spots on every big show that you can imagine, and has been with the company since 2012. So he's done just fine. But as someone on Twitter pointed out, I forget who it was, what more can he accomplish outside of the realms of World Wrestling Entertainment unless either feed an ego or just that's it. Just feed his ego because he doesn't have a belt to carry around or
Well,
a big
I think for Dean Ambrose or John, whatever you want to call him,
Johnny be good.
I think it's about happiness and creative control. He hates the hokey shit.
Yeah.
What have we talked about? Wacky Dean.
Yep.
And how many years has he had to do this? And
that was a shoot.
and what have they done? They've botched his heel turn, as we've talked about on the show as well. So he wants control over how his character is presented, and he doesn't like how he's being presented. And clearly they're not changing that. So, that's the biggest thing to him, and he's willing to take less money. He turned out a big money deal. So it's not about the money for him. So I would presume if they were able to convince him to change his mind, he did give notice, but if he changes his mind, there would have to be something tied around the direction of his character.
Why would you give notice 4 months in advance? Normally, it's like 2 to 3 weeks in the professional world. I'm thinking realistic here. Even if they did, if he was gone in 2 weeks, he could just give his 2 weeks notice just like that and lose his match at Mania if he even has one. Why 4 months? And again, why would they report that? They've never done that before. So it's just a big circumstance?
Well, you bring up a good point, and that's why it's causing a lot of extra speculation if this is a work or a shoot. Because this is not the WWE MO.
Hell no.
Yeah, but we saw them recently with Ronda Rousey confirm she's under contract until 2021. When a story came out by Dave Meltzer that she was going to finish up after WrestleMania. And they produced that. Then the story about Dean Ambrose gets out, and then they issue a statement on that. So those two instances, very recently, we've seen a change in direction of how they normally handle these situations. And so for that, based on the history, I can understand the question of, is this a work? Is it a shoot? It's pro wrestling. So I get it. And I think the history of how they've handled it raises those questions, and rightfully so.
Maybe I'm just in denial because I don't want to see him go. He's been one of my favorites since day one.
Obviously, there's no wrestler that I like more. I mean, Baron Corbin is my favorite, as you know.
Yeah.
But the guy after him has always been Dean Ambrose for me. So this was, I do not want to see Dean Ambrose leave WWE. I want to see them fix the problem because he has so much potential to be on the biggest stage. And, for as much success as he's had, they really have dropped the ball so many times. He was red hot at one point.
Yep.
When he was a babyface and Seth Rollins was the heel and the champion. He consistently loses to Seth and Dean, and or Seth and Roman, and he's always kind of been that third wheel, and they dropped the ball on that, and they never thought he was the guy, and they finally give him the big heel turn, and they screw that up. So they have underdelivered and damaged his character so severely, and I understand that. And by the way, I have to say, and I'm not the guy who would go on, spreading this type of propaganda, but for AEW, Dean Ambrose is a guy that if you can sign, if he leaves WWE, you have to make a play for Dean Ambrose. Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
That is a guy you need to sign.
If you're Cody Rhodes, the first thing I would do is let's call him by his real name, Jonathan Good, and say, do you want to come be a star or what? And give him the proof in the pudding, and all will be well and good again in the home of Dean Ambrose. Now, what was the whole promo thing where he was trying to talk after the commercial and then Nia and Tamina came out. That was so awkward.
It was incredibly awkward. It was basically just to make him look foolish. Like, there was the black mass, and then he was just quickly eliminated by what's his name?
Seth?
At the Rumble.
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black. Black mass kick, and he just goes comically tumbling over. So he didn't have a good showing at the Rumble. And then he loses in a short match. It was under 10 minutes, I think, to Seth Rollins.
I thought it was certainly short. 20.
Okay, maybe it was 12. It was certainly not 20. It was a shorter match, yeah. And then, of course, Nia Jax comes and hits him, and he falls out of the ring. And it's just kind of like, again, here we have someone who's given notice to the company. They want to leave. And what's the booking? What was the booking like with Revival? They wanted a release, and ever since, they've been made to look pretty foolish. And now we have Dean, and he says he's getting out of his deal. And what happens? Well, he's made to look really foolish. So I don't know if you notice any patterns there, John.
I do. It's just really, it sucks because I know you're not a Nakamura guy, but he could have been something pretty good in the company with a little bit of direction, even just a fucking little bit. Dean Ambrose is another one. Cody Rhodes is another one. Just all of these stars that I'm not saying like main event WrestleMania stars, but good stars to have. Like, and Dean is the cream of the freaking crop. How do you fuck it up? How it's so simple.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. You're right. I don't know how you messed that up. I don't.
After he fucked up with Punk, like that hurt me a lot as a wrestling fan of World Wrestling Entertainment. It hurt because he was right behind Edge as my favorites of all time, and Dean is in my top 5 as well. And like if he walks because Vince didn't have a lack of a stubborn bone in his body to say, well, maybe Dean can, write his own material or whatever, or put him in the right place. He could have been the best heel in the freaking company in an hour. Like, it's just, I'm almost done. I hope AEW is good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all do. I mean, it's not a matter of competition; it's a matter of alternative, and giving guys a chance to do what they can do so well. So, I think they have to go after Dean if WWE can't convince him to stay. They've got to make a big play for Dean Ambrose, and I think people would watch for that.
Yeah, I mean, really, and we know some people from AEW listen to the show. Call John Good tomorrow. Send him a DM. I don't give a shit. Do what you have to do. Something.
We're not saying, tamper with his contract or anything, pal.
No.
We're just saying maybe if you slide into his DMs at some point, not saying exactly when, and kind of send out a feeler through a third party or someone. I just... Dean Ambrose, the character John Good, whatever you want to call him, he's just too good at his job to not be able to do it on a big stage with great talent.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. And you're putting over, how often have they put over the Shield as the greatest faction of all time, which a lot of people maybe think is bullshit, but guess what? They're a really dominant modern pro wrestling faction. They're huge. So there's no doubting that. And now one of the guys in that particular faction is going to potentially be leaving.
Yep.
I just don't understand how you let that happen.
I don't either. Would it be just as impactful as if, let's say Shawn Michaels left DX? I know he left because of an injury, but he never left and quit the company and went to wrestle for somewhere else. He was just injured. Or when NWO was hot, Scott Hall leaves, or Edge and Christian, Edge leaves. I mean, we're talking that impactful here. Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray goes,
Yeah.
Evolution, Ric Flair, he's gone. Batista, get out of here. Then what the fuck are they? They're nothing.
I don't know. I don't know. It was a big shock to me. Like I said, I had the story independently confirmed, and it's just I was really hoping that's not the case because, like you at the time, at least, I was a huge CM Punk fan years
Yeah.
ago. Not so much now, but it sucks seeing him go, and that seemed like I don't know if it was a fixable situation, but it was very sudden. And now to hear the Dean thing, it's kind of like God, another big name who shouldn't be leaving, shouldn't have to
No.
leave,
No.
is now leaving because nobody cares, and the roster is just too bloated. There's too many guys, and they can't push them all. But God, come on.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. Like, you don't have to even script word for word what Dean Ambrose says. Like, just let him get it over.
Aren't those the guys that you want?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I, I don't know. But I don't think that's a good sign for WWE if AEW signs Dean Ambrose. It's like I don't think that's a good thing.
I don't either.
I don't think that's a good thing for WWE. That's a big loss for them. I mean, when someone in the company tells me that's a big loss for us if he leaves.
Well, yeah. I mean, so then you'd be down. I mean, since Cena's gone, Ambrose will be gone.
Yeah.
Who's left as far as main event talent?
Roman right now is gone.
Roman is gone,
Brock Lesnar's part-time.
and he might. Who knows? He might not come back after Mania anyway. So
But you're doing this monster push of Seth Rollins because he is 5-star matches.
and I love Seth. I think he's great, but he can't be the top guy. He needs help. Everyone needs a dance partner. This is the truth. I don't know either. All right, I'm getting sleepy. What is your Twitter? What the fuck do I always? Where can we find you on Twitter? That's how you do it.
That's the line. Okay, at the Brad Shepard. Follow me there. SHEPARD. And all of my work on prosportsextra.com. I'm a sports writer there now. I have returned to the world of sports. Legitimate US-based sports website. I'm firing it up as much as possible. So look for my work there.
And I'm John Fisher TV on Twitter. Again, rate us 5 stars. It's ironic that Brad always harps on 5-star matches, but that's the irony of it, right? Rate us 5 stars, and review and subscribe on iTunes. And you can again find us Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud for your download needs. Interesting statistic, by the way. So just on SoundCloud, stand by. My laptop's going slow because it's 7 years old. I wanted to thank you also just on SoundCloud alone. As far as total listens are concerned, we have over 10,000 plays total, which is great. I think that's phenomenal. In 13 episodes. Well, this will be number 13, so 12. Which is phenomenal. So thank you all. And if we're even including our old surname backstage in WWE, so if we're going to include those 38 tracks at over 10,000 total, ain't bad. Friends, thanks a lot. We appreciate it very, very much. So, and Brad is speechless, as you could hear.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously thank you for your support. We have brought a podcast that we think is special and something different, and we're kind of getting launched and getting it out there, and we're continuing to grow every week, and kind of helping you guys spread the word so we can continue to grow. But I think we're doing something special here. I really do. Something that people are finding entertaining and really engaging in. So, that's exciting for me.
Yeah, it is for me too. Is there anything else you want to say before we ride off into next week?
No, that is it. Please do rate, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, And we look forward to hearing from you, and we will see you next week.
It must be my lucky day. You have nothing else to say, which is great. Baron Corbin is the worst wrestler in history. Good night, everyone. We will see you again soon. Basic Baron. That's what I should call him. Basic babyface Baron.